Call the Planning and Zone Committee of September 2 of 25 into order, and Robert, would you start us with the prayer, sir? I would appreciate that.
Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for another day of life. You can terminate that at any time, and we already know the days that we have. Father, as we convene on this meeting, I ask a special blessing on the committee members that we make wise decisions, decisions that would be pleasing in your sight and pleasing to the communities of Wilson County. Father, again, thank you for Colonel McFarland's leadership and each committee member here. Father, again, we thank you for Jesus, and in his name I pray. Amen.
Amen. We got minutes in front of you. There's one correction. Chris, you're the planning director, correct? Not the codes director.
No, sir.
Thank you very much.
Just
With that substitution,
Move to approve.
we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the minutes? All in favor say aye. Aye. The minutes are approved. Public comment from anybody in the public that would like to speak, if you hold it to,
I'll get mine over real quick.
hold it 3 minutes or half an hour, whatever.
Whatever, hopefully it won't be that long. Perry Neal, 1000 Murphy Lane, Lebanon. Here to comment about the lawsuit and that whole issue about the zoning. I'm not gonna, y'all probably all know how I feel about that, but I'm not gonna plead that case. I would just say that the people of the county have a right for it to go back and be heard before the county commissioners. I will quote, I believe Commissioner Jones said one point in time that y'all answer to the people. You know, y'all are elected, you know, and I would just ask that you get it, you know, whether you want to appeal it, that's okay, but I would ask that you try to get it back in front of the county commissioners, and that it would leave this body with a recommendation to go back and let the, I think you got it right last time. I mean, you know, in my opinion, I know you got it right, but I would just ask that you do whatever you need to do to get it back on the agenda so the county commissioners, all 25 of them, can either vote it up or down and do it the right way. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? The guy with the white hat.
Just cleaned it
Good
up.
guys wear white hats,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Good guy.
I only let them know what that says about Perry.
It's true to form.
That was right there. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, that's fine. Jack Pratt, 1145 Grant Road. Like Mr. Neal here, I think y'all know pretty much where I stand on this. I think y'all have that right to 2 acres. I'm not gonna comment on any lawsuit or anything. I'm for a little more open space. And I would ask, similar to what Mr. Neal here just said, you all do answer the public. And you do a good job. And having been in public office, I think I got a person sitting down here that followed me up in public office doing a better job than I did, and Mr. Goodall personally, but I know what it's like to answer the folks. And I appreciate the job that you do, and I ask that you go on to the county commission at 2 acres. Just another little tidbit, I've done a little bit of research. Other counties already have done this. Sumner in particular has theirs at 2.3 acres or 100,000 square feet out in the agricultural, or what you would call A1 zone. And Rutherford County, I think, is looking at moving it 4 or 5 acres. So I would say if we would stay at 1 acre, if the housing boom and the growth that we were bound to have here in Middle Tennessee continues, that will make us a target for possibly overdevelopment. But I appreciate the job y'all do, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I'm Jason Denton out of Full Transparency. I'm a senior partner at RMA with Shell McCall Knowles. I ain't here in that capacity today. I'm here as a neighbor to Jerry McFarland. I'm here as a 5th generation farmer. And I'm also here with someone with dire concern about growth. Took me 30 minutes to get out of my driveway this morning. 30 minutes. I live at 5051 Coles Ferry Pike. I live right next door to that man, right across the street from Miss Linda's Little Ones. But you're about to be surprised at what I'm going to say. I don't like this 2 acre thing. Let me tell you why. I bought 3.74 acres in 2012 with a house on it. It's already got another perk site with water and conduit run to it behind my house. I bought 3.97 acres right next door to me with a red barn. I raise goats. I raise horses. I raise Simmental cattle. I breed my animals on my property here in Lebanon. I use my 86 acres in Carthage as hay. That's where we do all of our haying. And then we bring the hay here to feed my animals. I raise chickens also and sell eggs. We do all that right there on that little bit of land. Here's my problem. My 3.97 acres has 2 perk sites on it also. I reside at 5051 Colesberry Pike with 4 kids, my wife who's a school teacher. I serve as an elder at Berea Church of Christ. I'm deeply rooted in this community. Deeply rooted. This law, what's being proposed is going to keep me from doing a dream of mine. And I mean this, gentlemen. I got 4 kids. I ain't gonna be able to subdivide that 3.97 acres or that 3.74 acres the way this is written up. That means if one of my kids want to come back home and build a house, and I planned on that, that's why I bought the property. We planned on giving one of the kids the house that we've got. We plan on buying my mother-in-law's house when she passes away, which is behind us. And then we plan on giving the other 3 kids some property. They ain't gonna be able to build houses. I ain't gonna be able to subdivide. I want this number to ring home with everyone in this room. 0.29 acres. That's what I'm short. I didn't have to worry about that when I bought it. I'm a farmer, just like you men. Now, I'm an attorney, but I'm a farmer. Don't shake your head.
Free country.
It may be a free country, but I was up underneath the baler for 2.5 hours the other day pulling hay out in 100-degree weather. So don't tell me I ain't a
Should've
farmer.
got it clogged up then.
Well, maybe we're trying to beat the rain.
Let's hold it down, gentlemen.
Maybe we're trying to beat the rain.
Mike, how, if it went to 60,000 or 80,000, how would you discriminate or allow somebody that was so close yet so far away to be able to do what the attorney says there? We're talking 80,000 square feet, which is not truly 2 acres.
And I'm short.
Rezoned to R1.
Huh?
Rezoned to R1.
Yeah,
Amen.
Simple.
It's rezoned to R1.
right.
Amen.
The 3.9 will give you enough at 80,000.
That's what I'm
But
thinking.
not at the 3.74.
No, it won't.
And I already have
How
perk
do
sites.
you deal with something that's razor blade close, Mike?
Bowser.
You go to Board of Zoning
Can
Appeals.
both-
Yeah.
Doug Bowser, request a variance.
We've had that conversation before.
We've had that
Yeah.
conversation.
I mean, you're within stepping distance almost, in under the wire, it's not quite under the wire, so.
I'm surprised Coles Ferry isn't R1.
And the same thing could happen with
Any place.
And I understand Jason
Yeah.
is concerned with the acreage he has, but there are probably people with 40,000 square feet who would have to maybe have a variance or
I'm not here to develop and sell it to some land developer. I'm here to give it to my, just like you want to give it to your family.
But when you open that door, then the 400-acre farm ends up with 350 houses on it.
Well,
You're okay with that, aren't you?
no, I'm not, because I couldn't get out of my driveway this morning.
Well, okay. I have no problem with what you want to do. I have a problem with the 400 acres
Thank you,
ended
Jay.
up with 350 houses.
Thank you, Jay.
I just don't think you ought to go back to commission without properly going through the channels.
Well, that's the reason. Does anybody else wanna make comment, because I wanna kind of set the ground rules here? Yes, Mr.
Very
Perry.
briefly, Neil A.G., I live at 1861 Noreen Road. I think that Mr. Denton's problem is understandable, but there is a solution. There's rezoning, and I think if you went in front of the proper authorities and you were rezoning 10 to 11 acres out there on a main highway, and you said what you're gonna do with it, and you're not a developer, I don't believe he'd have a lot of problem getting that done. I think that would work. And I think what we need to do right now is we need to send this back to the commissioners. I understand that there's gonna be the motion that's gonna be on the table is to put it back the way it was before the lawsuit. And I think that's the right way to do it. Let's send it back to the county commission. If it's the political will of the county commission, we'll be back where we started, and it will be democracy in action. It won't be a decision by the judge. The judge didn't want to make the decision. Didn't study that case. I don't know the ins and outs of what defect or problem, but let's get it back in front of the 25 people and do it right. What we don't want to do is we don't want to cover our county with houses and destroy all the farms we've got. People, it means a lot to me. You know, I've got 285 acres. You know, I live in a rural community. I live in an Oriental community, and I just want to encourage us to try to be very mindful of the riches that we have so much undeveloped land left in this county. I'm in favor of piling them on top of each other in cities, in the cities, okay? Stack them high, but let's preserve, I want to preserve as much green space as can be preserved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank y'all for your service. It's a thankless job.
Ken Young, 1221 Shop Springs Road. I just want to make everyone on this committee aware of the performance of the Water and Wastewater Authority STEP systems. I know you've been told that they're working great, and I'm here to tell you the story that you need to hear before you start making recommendations to other commissions. These are all 44 of the Water Authority's permits. They're assigned to the Water Authority. More than half of those systems are so new they have yet to prove themselves, and so small they're not useful to study. However, there are some that are useful to look at. I chose systems that are 65 or more homes, that are 3 or more years old. For reference, the LaGuardo School is the equivalent of 50 homes. I wanted to understand how larger drip areas have performed. They're the ones you see on the TV news and in the paper. Were they large enough initially? And if they were not, how was that addressed? How well did the system age? Did their soils prove to be resilient? Will they function indefinitely? Of all 44 permits, 13 fit that criteria. 8 out of the 13 have serious issues. More than half. That's the information you need. A 60% failure rate is not doing great. Let's look at some of these systems. Sunset Harbor served 194 homes since 2005. In February, it drew another serious NOV, and that turned into a $50,000 fine. That's in Mr. Costley's district. Bridgewater Estates served 89 homes since 2012. That one may end up in federal court. Purposely running effluent into Old Hickory Lake is a federal crime. Bernard's district. Poplar Ridge served 108 homes since 2015. The authority had too many homes on too few acres, so the state stepped in and changed their permit without their permission. Academy Road served 293 homes since 2014. The scheme was for the school to use the drip area, but that had been failing since 2018. That's Mr. McFarland's district. Of the 44, I count 10 that are less than 3 years old, and at least one of them is already failing. I want to read one of the latest from Hickory Isles. That's in Miss Breeze's district. It says, evidence of overland flow outside the drip field was observed. That means it went on someone else's property. The other thing to understand, the ravine was dry at the time of inspection. Less than 0.09 inches of precipitation had occurred in the area for the previous 48 hours. So if you ever hear somebody say that it's rainwater that's doing it, it's just storm water that's running into the lake, then understand that the people that do these notices of violation and the people that file these super expensive lawsuits, they know to control for that. Just understand that. I'll take any question.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak?
I'll just say something real quick. Stephen Goodall, 8150 Trailsville Ferry Pike. I think everybody here is like for management of the growth. No one, most people run elections on that. I'm not for out of control growth and all that stuff. But but you can't just grow for the sake of growing. I think that's a bad idea. You got to manage it somehow. And the 2 acre lot minimums, I think it strikes a balance because they allow development, but it's at the pace that the county can reasonably support without sacrificing the schools or infrastructure. Because I think everybody knows once you take that 2 acre lot down to 1, you're doubling in size the school. You're effectively doubling that classroom for those rural schools. And everybody knows here, the end game is a new school, and it's a tax increase, right? Because you got to have schools, you got to fill those schools up with teachers, you got to have SROs in those schools, you got to build them, you got to get them uniforms, you got to build them the fanciest, football fields. You got to do all that stuff, and that's what leads to tax increases. But to do that, and I'm for it in the subdivisions, like Mr. Agee said, that's fine in the cities. But the 2 acre minimum it's a balance, and I think it's fair. And I think what y'all did last time was the right decision. And if we do it the right way, then I think everything will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Chair would like to take just a moment to kind of explain the reason I called the meeting tonight. A lot of crazy things going on in the world. Anybody been keeping up with Hendersonville lately? Hendersonville put a moratorium on apartments. I think they're going through second reading. Have you done the third reading on it yet? Do you know?
I think it's done. I think
Is
it's,
it?
yeah, I
Gone
think
through
they're,
third
yeah, it's for
reading.
9
Yeah,
months, and it's a moratorium on,
and-
yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm just making a point that a lot of crazy things go. Gallatin's following suit, doing the same thing, and of course we know the situation with the lawsuit and how it turned out, and Mr. Jennings has sent us a option here, 3 different options, and the former sheriff and former commissioner said that the 4th option is do nothing. But that's,
It's always an
I
option.
don't know if that's really an option to do nothing. But anyway, the reason I called everybody together is to try to just discuss and see what the feeling of the committee was, and see how you guys wanted to start this thing. I want to make sure we do it meticulously. If you get it back to the county commission floor, that we're accurate in what we do administratively, that we don't have any faux pas, screw ups, or anything else that is defendable if we go that route. I have my own feeling on, but I'm gonna keep it to myself for the moment. But I like to put the discussion on the table, and Tommy, you and Bobby and whoever like to step in and just discuss it any way you want to. Let's just get a little bit going here. And anybody else like to add to that, that'd be fine too. We'll just call on you. So
So this discussion needs to be about what to do about
what?
the judge, chancellor's decision.
Well, whether or not we're gonna start the issue over again and do it correctly this time, where it's defendable, or whether we,
Our agenda,
it's open for discussion.
our agenda says to consider decision made by judge on
Yeah,
why.
you're limited what you can do tonight.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
what
what I'm
can we
getting
do
at. I don't want us to head down a road gonna get us in
Yeah,
trouble before we even
I'm gonna
start.
tell you, we're gonna have to,
That's the reason I want you to keep us straight here.
well, I'll do the best I can. I've got some concerns, but I'll keep them to myself right now, okay? But what I need tonight from y'all is whether or not you want to appeal the decision. And to do that, the chancellor issued his order the same day. He already had it prepared, he already had it signed, so our 30-day window started running the next day. And if you're going to appeal, you got to do it by September 25. If not, you forever lose that right. Now, I proposed 3 options to you, and of course, the 4th one's always there, but it's always the easiest one, that's to do nothing. But the first option would be to appeal. Second option would be, as the chairman and several others have mentioned, start the process over, jump through all the hoops. And third will be a combination of the two. If you appeal the case, it does not stop you, in my opinion, from going ahead and starting the process back over. Now, if you get the result that you want, or the result that 13 commissioners can live with, the appeal can be dropped. But you don't have that option if you don't appeal it by September 25.
continue on, finish what you're saying.
No, that's pretty much it.
Well, one question I have on the appeal itself is, did his ruling, it's summary judgment, I know, but will the ruling itself affect future legislative bodies from being able to amend on the floor without going back to public hearing? Because to me, if it carried weight on future cases, CK just
Precedent.
outlawed PUDs.
Talking about precedent.
Yeah, if this. stood-
Normally, a trial court does not serve as precedent, okay? Now, if I'm contesting something and I wanna use that case, I'll use it, but it's not precedent like an appellate decision or a Supreme Court decision.
So you don't really have a fear, because I don't know if a lot of you, plan unit developments, the one that just approved in your district. We didn't approve what was publicly noticed.
Well,
We didn't approve what was publicly noticed on the budget last time. We didn't approve what was publicly noticed when Providence and Mount Juliet was approved. Basically, this ruling outlaws PUDs.
all right, well, PUDs weren't mentioned, but I understand what you're saying. Let me say this to you. The last two times we met, I gave y'all an opportunity to try to, I told you it needed a legislative solution, not a judicial solution. Well, we got one. We got a judicial solution. Part of that concerns me in the fact that this is the way we've been doing stuff all along, okay? Sam Edwards comes in and they use him as an expert, and he says, this is not the way you do it. But I went back to our friend Tom Bashir, and he, in his affidavit, used 5 different places within the last 60 days that are doing it exactly like we do.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think we're gonna have to modify the way we do things. We're gonna have to give a better description on the agenda. But I guess the biggest thing that concerns me is, let's assume that the planning commission recommends something upstairs to the county commission. And enough people don't like it, whatever it is, I'm not saying, whatever it is. Enough people don't like it and they move to amend it in some way, then it's gotta go back down. Then it gets sent back up.
But
And the potential is there to ping pong that back. And that concerns me a little bit.
But it doesn't say anywhere in TCA that we have to approve what the planning commission recommends. All we have to do is consider their recommendation.
That's correct.
And we
you
did
can
consider their
a
recommendation.
negative recommendation.
I think the process that went wrong at that point is it probably should have been presented twofold, that it should have been this ordinance is presented to you in this form with a recommendation to amend from the planning commission. Do you all accept their amendment? And then it would have been a yay or nay, and then you vote on the resolution. I think that would have
Let me
been.
ask Mike a question right quick about our rules. I know county rule book doesn't supersede state law, but
Yeah.
it plainly states that this committee is to recommend resolutions providing for the proper implementations of planning principles. So, where does it ever say that the planning commission makes a recommendation for a resolution before the governing body?
State law,
State law.
State law does say that.
it does.
So,
In fact, our planning and zoning committee, you fellows sit here as a creature of the county commission.
I understand that.
And the county commission could vote next month to dissolve it, or any other committee, other than those required by statute.
But we as a county legislative body have a right to initiate an amendment to our zoning ordinance, right?
You do?
Yes.
And that's what we did. And we sent it to them.
Yeah,
They didn't agree with it.
that's
They
correct,
sent it back to us. We considered it. We didn't agree with what they recommended.
right.
And we substituted our original submission to them.
That's correct.
See, that's why I think maybe your fourth option is for us to appeal it, go ahead and send it back to the county commission, and then whether we rezone or not, we go ahead and leave the appeal on. Because I really do think this has some implications. Like you just mentioned, we could never appeal anything on the floor. Somebody comes up and wants to amend the budget, that's not what we publicly noticed.
Well, I don't think you need to confuse budget with this. This is done in the context of purely state law planning, okay? We're not required to have a public hearing on the amendments that we do each month in the county commission, where we give the school board $20,000 more, or we give Christopher $10,000 more. We don't have to have, we do have to have one on the budget. Now,
Which gets amended for
One.
bonuses all the time. That wasn't.
and many times it gets amended on the floor, at least an effort's made. Somebody, well, just like this last time, there were rumors, it never got presented, but there were rumors that there was gonna be an effort made to increase pay for sheriff deputies. And that never got to the floor, but that could have happened. I think the concern is that we fix our procedures. Now, can we fix them, will they be foolproof? I don't know. Simply because if somebody can get the votes, let's say the planning commission votes 11-0 to send something up with a positive recommendation. And enough people on the county commission can make a motion to amend and second, and the maker says, well, I'll accept that. Well, we didn't have a public hearing, that's what the chancellor said. We didn't have a public hearing on that amendment, so it's gotta go back. So we gotta schedule it again for a public hearing.
Does it have to go back to the planning commission at that point?
Depending on what it is,
Well, Mike, on this, we know what it is right here.
sure.
Does this have to even go back to the planning commission? They have made their recommendation. Can we publicly notice the resolution we passed to the full county?
My recommendation would be that you start the process.
Why though? They've already recommended it.
It's because the one that was,
No, you go ahead.
the one that was substituted, the one that planning commission recommended, we amended the overall resolution that was sent to you all based off the recommendation from the planning commission. So the one that we sent to you all was the amended version. Now, the way that you're talking is just put the one that we voted through. Well, planning commission never made a recommendation on the one as it sits.
That's right.
Wasn't it one that we approved, the original one we sent them to start with?
Right, but they amended it and their recommendation was based off that amendment being set. So if it was the original, now I could go back, and it's on my planning commission agenda for September 19th. I went ahead and put it on the planning commission.
The planning commission does not own the zoning ordinance of Wilson County. The Wilson County legislative body does.
But you have to
It's already
consider,
on
you
the
have to
agenda?
consider the, yeah, I went ahead and put it on my agenda as of today. It-
We
it's
may,
finalized
we
today.
may need to slide that out.
Which I mean, it's a lot easier for me to take something off, but I don't have to have guidance from this board to put a amendment to the zoning resolution on the agenda. Now, to get it finally approved, yes, but I mean, I can put anything on the agenda for them to consider, and it's gonna come back through you all, and if it gets tabled at that point or
So
dismissed.
you can ask to have it considered, this body doesn't have to.
Well, I had a second
Absolutely,
question.
yes.
Okay,
What if we take what they recommended back to the floor of the full legislative body and amend piece by piece, one by one?
You're gonna have to have, according to the chancellor's decision, a public hearing on those amendments. You can't advertise a public hearing on something that's been passed, according to him, okay? And that's what we gotta live with. You can't send it up in Form A and then add Form B, C, and D after you've had the public hearing. You gotta send it back for a public hearing for B, C, and D. And that's one of the concerns I have. That may very well be right, but it can go on forever.
Ever.
And that concerns me.
It's never happened this has never happened in the state's history. This is gonna if this happens, I'm telling you, you'll never get, I don't know what Nashville's gonna do. They'll never pass another budget. Because the planning commission and the legislative body always disagrees in Nashville. Mount Juliet's always a lot of times Lebanon's does, in this case ours does.
We do well in Watertown, it's always 5-0.
But this is gonna be in an elevator. I mean,
I
people-
understand what's wrong.
I think one of our commissioners has a point to make.
Yeah, no, I agree with Bobby. I came this evening specifically because I wanted to encourage this body, because I'm not on the committee, but to appeal this ruling. And not because of the 2 acres versus 1 acre, but because of the precedent that it sets, the process, that we now potentially have to follow. And I question how that is gonna affect exactly what Bobby was saying, not just zoning, but
Yeah.
potentially anything that we, per TCA, have to have public notice for. And then actually have a public hearing for, such as the budget every year, which again, there's nothing we don't do anything behind closed doors. I'm not saying that by any means whatsoever, but at the same time, we should be able to do the people's business and amend things on the floor as necessary and be able to actually continue through said process. This ruling basically stops us from being able to do that and then continually go into this weird loop about, okay, well, we're gonna amend something. All right, let's have another public hearing. And we're never gonna get anything accomplished.
I think you
So-
have a public hearing at that level, whatever
Right,
level. you know.
yeah.
Do what?
So-
She's talking about the public hearing, and I understand that, but I think you could have it at whatever level, at the planning commission or at the full commission, you know, call for a public hearing on that issue.
Let me say
Yeah.
two other things.
Not me.
One thing, I think the two lawyers in the room will agree with me if they're still here, and I've turned my back on them, which I've been raised not to do.
Amen.
But,
I'm sneaking up behind you.
They both got mustaches too.
I think they'll agree with me. There's a saying out there in the legal world, bad facts make bad laws. And this is not the best set of facts that we can go up on. Now, it's the facts we've got, okay? I said I was gonna say the second thing and I forgot it, so just give me a
Well,
second moment. I think I'll come back to it.
Tell us what we can do tonight. I wanted us to get together and do exactly what we're doing and discuss it.
All right.
And then if we were to take action, I don't know if we even can take action. or
The
not,
issue
but
tonight is, for me, is do you want to appeal the chancellor's decision?
They'll make a
If you
motion to
do-
appeal.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and we have a second.
All right.
Discussion.
Let me write,
I've got a follow-up question on that. Can I- and if-
Chris?
If they just make a motion to appeal, is that just a motion to appeal and you wanna run it back through the channels, concurrently? Or do you wanna wait till the decision of the appeal and leave it off the table?
let me address that.
Please.
The issue tonight is whether or not you're gonna appeal it to the Court of Appeals. And the matter is, here is time pressure. Because September 25 is our deadline and y'all meet on the 15th, and we don't meet again unless you call a special meeting. Most of the time, it takes a while for lawyers, the two here may be the exceptions, they may get theirs in that night, but most of us are a few days later getting it in, and a few days later for the chancellor to sign it, and we probably would have had the opportunity to consider it in October. We don't have that now, so we gotta act on that. The issue of starting over and all that stuff needs to be addressed on a future agenda. Not tonight, because the way the agenda's worded is just how to deal with that decision. But I think you've heard a lot of comments here tonight that people want it considered again. And again, I thought the second thing I was gonna say, I will again say to you, even though the appeal is gonna be a judicial matter, this thing needs to be legislatively resolved. You know
Amen.
what I'm saying? It needs to be, come out of the county commission in whatever form, but
So we need to meet again at some time to take up restarting this process?
yes, sir.
Okay.
And give Christopher specific direction on how you want that worded so that we'll have it there and you can, and it may be exactly the way you got it on the substituted resolution. But, that's for a future meeting.
Steve, we have a motion and a second. Anything else?
I'd just like to say that we certainly need to forward this to the county court. It's a decision that was made by the county court, and it needs to be decided whether we appeal it by the county court, not this committee, so we certainly need to forward it to the court.
Okay. I guess we need to vote on that, do we not, Mike?
You do.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
There'll be a resolution in your packet when it goes out Monday.
Okay, we need to, is there any discussion on starting the process over again?
Yeah.
But since we're not on the agenda tonight, I guess we're gonna have another meeting just to
How
address.
does that work? Because I don't necessarily have to have a directive from this board to start it over at planning commission. I know they have to approve it before it goes to the full county court.
Well, you don't, but,
I've got all sorts of resolution variances that go to planning commission before they come here.
you know, and I may be talking out of school here, but that hasn't stopped me before. If I'm sitting on the planning commission and a committee sends me something with a unanimous vote or whatever, I gotta take that into consideration. I really do. Now, that doesn't mean I automatically vote your way, but I say that to say I think it really ought to start here. And then send it on to the planning commission. It can get there in October, can it? I mean, you got it on there for September, but they can't.
Well, right, I mean, but I don't need their action. I mean, we've never really, I mean, there's been discussion of stuff that's started here, but I've never wrote a zoning resolution and had it presented here and get it moved to approve to go to planning commission with a recommendation from planning and zoning. The recommendation from planning and zoning always comes through this board, not vice versa. At least in the past, since I've been here.
We're not,
We're getting back in that ping pong game if we start doing that.
well, we're not in consideration of it though right now, are we?
You're not.
Well,
I
that's
think the
what-
question he's asking,
I don't
does it
think
start here or
I
start the
don't
planning
think I
commission?
need it, but,
My,
Laura's got a comment.
my
Got a question.
my concern is that I think your deadline for the planning commission
Today.
was noon today, whatever action we take. I don't want that afternoon day to throw a glitch.
Well, no, I don't think,
And
I don't think
procedures.
it would on my end, but I mean, if there's an overarching concern that you feel like it's going to go against something that CK decided, I'll go ahead and pull it and put it on a different agenda.
Think long.
We talked about this right after the decision was reached, and we decided, I think, maybe Christopher and I did, let's put it on the agenda, because we were doing everything we could to try to protect our time limits, okay? It doesn't necessarily have to be done by the planning commission at the September meeting, but we wanted to get it on there in case somebody wanted to run with it then.
It's a lot
My-
easier to take
my-
things off.
Yeah, do what?
It's a lot easier to take things off.
Yeah, my advice would be, as Chairman has said, let's jump through all the hoops one at a time. And my goal, or I don't have a goal, but perhaps your goal should be to get it to the planning commission in October.
One thing we had talked about, we had a lot of public comment about the 2 acres out in the rural. What got overturned by CK had a lot more to do with R1 than it did A1.
It did, so it's 4 categories.
And the two problems that it has to do with R1 are out in the county. If it goes back to the old ways, our wastewater authority board, which isn't doing so well right now, is gonna get to rezone almost double density down to 25,000 square feet in the rural. And then in the growth areas of both Lebanon and Mount Juliet, or at least in Mount Juliet, they've got a conflict. They've got 40,000 square foot minimums to be subdivided in R1 in their growth area. So that's an automatic lawsuit. So if somebody starts trying to sneak in, I hate to say it on TV, but it's just true. And I haven't got to tell you developers down there in the west end of the county that would rather have a step system than the Mount Juliet sewer system. Now this is back up in the air down there. R1 is thrown up in the air, and there's 10 times more issues with R1 than there is A1. It just in numbers. I hate to break it to everybody, but it's true. So here's what I think we should do. I think we should get started immediately, because there is some, in TCA, if we are resolving our zoning ordinance and somebody comes in and wants to apply for something, we can put them off, can't we? Until it's resolved. In other words, if we start the process, we can say, no, you can't jump, you can't slide through this crack and go ahead and throw 300 houses down on a step system in Mount Juliet right now, or go to court fighting over it, because we've already started the process.
I have to do some research on that. I've got a whole, next 2 weeks, I've got developers coming in doing pre-app meetings for properties that they want
I
to
bet.
submit, but I'm not.
Well, I think you're gonna see a good crowd.
Well, that's one of the reasons it's on this month's agenda, is because part of it's for self-preservation in my office. I'm gonna get a lot of requests in the next 60 days, I guarantee it, just to lock in entitlement rights.
Jerry, you have a planning and zoning committee meeting next Tuesday night, so if y'all wanted to start the process there.
Have an insurance committee.
Insurance?
Insurance. Well, we could come and meet again and start.
I wrote down planning and zoning on my calendar.
But if it's on the agenda anyway, can't they go ahead and hear it? They may have a change of heart. There may be a whole bunch of people show up at planning commission, trying to persuade the planning commission to go ahead and let the,
I'm trying to make sure.
my crystal ball's not foggy.
The normal way it starts here, goes to planning commission, comes back and goes to the full commission, correct? Give me the mechanism, put it on tape.
It goes from the planning commission to the county commission.
But normally we start.
That's what state law is.
Okay.
Now, we put a step in there where we send it back over here from time to time, but we don't necessarily have to.
No, that's not state law.
Yeah,
But
it's not,
do we-
that's something we come up with.
I want us to be squeaky clean on this thing. Do we need,
That's where I want.
do we need to meet a little before, a little after insurance next Tuesday night and take this issue up for the 80,000 square feet and have that as a sole thing and either pass it or not pass it, send it on to the commissions in October?
If you wanna run with it, yes. Now, the key is still, you correct me if I'm wrong, you've done a lot more than these than I have. The key is still the planning commission recommendation goes up to the county commission.
Yes.
And even if it's a negative recommendation, it's gotta go up within 30 days.
Yeah, I have to present it that
Yeah.
way.
So we'd be right back in the same position again. So how do we eliminate, because planning commission more than likely is gonna vote that same thing again. And that's okay, but if the county governing body doesn't want to agree with it, how do we go about doing that legally? To make sure that we don't wind back up in a situation
Have a
like we're
public
in.
hearing.
Well, the state law says that the negative recommendation can go up, but it's gotta go up within 30 days. It's gotta be, if there's a little bit more constricted time frame there. The other thing is your local rules provide for a minority report. Now, our former sheriff was a champion of that. When something didn't work out his way, he'd bring a resolution to the county commission as a minority report. I'm not being critical, I thought that's a pretty good procedural move. But it can be done. But you have to understand, this thing is generating, as we've heard here tonight, these are good people that are on both sides of the thing. And it's gonna generate a lot of debate out there. And so we've got to make sure that we do the best we can to jump through all the hoops. And
When the county sent this over to the planning commission and wasn't what we got back a negative recommendation technically?
We got a positive recommendation with said amendment. So the way it be presented this time is like, we wouldn't, I don't know how I'm gonna term it, I'll have to figure out, and I'll probably talk to Mike about legal terms, but there won't, like, the resolution as presented will have to be voted on. We're not going to accept, and I don't know if I can put that stipulation on there, cause they're a board that governs that. But it would just be, I want you to make a recommendation on the resolution that's before you. And if they make a negative recommendation, then that's what'll get forwarded to the county commission.
I think we have found the problem.
What?
And I don't know.
That's what should have happened.
I
It
don't
should have
know,
been what
yeah.
we, since we originated this zoning ordinance amendment.
but you can't stop somebody from making an amendment.
Yeah, and I don't,
You can't, that's part of the
Now,
process.
the judge stopped us from.
Well, they're stopping us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Procedure.
two different things here, guys. You
Okay.
can't send something up to a vote. What if somebody sent something in here to vote and said, y'all gotta vote this up or down? You can't discuss it, you can't amend it. I know what you do right off the bat, you'd amend it, but
But
this
this is a
shows you
zoning,
could.
this is a zoning ordinance amendment. This is our
understand.
ordinance that we wanted to amend of our own.
I understand, I've lived it for 2 years now.
What is it,
I just
clean?
don't wanna live it for another 2.
I'm with you though.
Well,
Hey,
I think
try to be
that's
in
everybody's
retirement pretty
goal
quick.
here.
We basically got 3 steps, us, the planning commission and the full commission. Now, how do we start this thing squeaky clean? My concern with going before the planning commission on, this month is the fact that deadline was, I know you got control of it, but deadline was at noon, and here we are making, make a recommendation after the deadline, and that ain't squeaky clean.
No, we jumped on it just to make sure we had that time frame covered.
Okay.
But I don't think either one of us really thought it would come up this month. Christopher may disagree with me, that's all right too, but I take your time, work through it, and do it right. And I'll do my best to defend it, whichever way it comes down. You know, keep in mind that if it passes, there may very well be people that'll file another lawsuit. It could happen. It's a wonderful country we live in, y'all heard me say that. Anybody can sue anybody at any time.
But, so you're saying wait a month, not taking it this way?
No, I'm saying if y'all gonna start it here, take you a meeting next week or whatever, because what you come out of here with doesn't go in your packet to the county commission. It goes to the planning commission. You're recommending it to the planning commission. Isn't that what they're doing?
That'd be what we're doing,
Yeah.
and they go in
Is
October.
there anything wrong with that?
I don't see anything wrong with that, it's
Cause
just
the-
a step that we've added in there.
The ultimate decision has to be what the planning commission
It's
does.
the planning
It's
commission.
up to the county commission.
Well, let me
That
ask this
needs to be
question,
clean.
Mike. If we make a recommendation, is the planning commission required to vote on it? Or can they just
If you-
ignore it, ignore
No,
it,
if
and
it's
make
put
it
on
wrong?
if it's put on the agenda, which I assume
Mhm.
Christopher would do that, then yes, they'll have to.
Did they even vote on what we recommended last time, Chris?
Yeah. Yes.
They did.
Amended it.
They did vote on it.
Eight.
Yeah.
Negative recommendation.
8-2.
Okay.
And it should have, that's how it should have come back.
Come back where?
Well, that's what I'm
With a
getting at.
negative recommendation, because
So
ignored them.
they-
It wouldn't have been the case.
So it'd come back to us to have more discussion since something about, is that the thought?
If y'all send it over and the planning commission votes on it, in my mind, it's ready to go upstairs, over here.
Well,
Why
wait a
would it
minute,
come back
but
to the-
Well,
like,
we can't
but
amend it
what
on the
they
floor
sent
without having
last
public
time
hearing.
is not what we recommended. It got turned down. So
Forget,
they created their own
they did.
and sent it. So they could do that at any time then, is what you're saying?
There's weaknesses in this thing, I'm telling you, the way he decided, and keep in mind, this was totally a procedural decision. He said in there, I think I sent this all out to y'all yesterday, he says in there that he's not saying that,
Yeah.
not proper, and I'm paraphrasing that.
If we send it to planning commission, we come back and we recommend to do this exactly as it went last time.
Uh-huh.
And we just essentially take what we sent them and public notice that. Cause it's either gonna come back with a positive recommendation or a negative recommendation. And if they wanna add another zoning ordinance amendment, we can publicly notice that. We can hear both of them.
How does it work? Okay, so.
There's a way around this.
If this board originates the resolution, I can get behind that maybe, and it's presented to planning commission. Planning commission does or does not have a right to amend that, because it originated out of this board.
I'm assuming that anybody that acts under Robert's Rules of Order has the
Right.
right to amend. I just don't think you can say, I want y'all to pass this and I'm not gonna let you amend it.
But can't that
I
be
just don't think
separate?
you do that.
Can't they be separate from what we're doing? In other words, we're sending something that we want decided by you. We want your recommendation or your non-recommendation, that's fine. They can send that up
Mhm.
separate,
They can.
and that's fine. Public notice both of them. Vote on both of them. Can you stop that?
Afraid that would confuse some people on the
That's all
commission.
I'm sorry, I missed you a minute ago.
That's
Go ahead.
okay. I was just saying, I'm afraid that would end up confusing some people that are on the commission what we're voting on. Because some of them admitted that they didn't even realize what they were voting on the last time.
In Mount Juliet, and this is not the same as the county. The county's governed difference, and I'm not saying it's the same, okay? But there, if the legislative body starts a zoning ordinance amendment, that's what the planning commission has to vote on, yes or no, period. That's just the way they do it,
Voted up and down.
up or down. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they vote it down. I'm on the planning commission down there, and they voted something down, it went to a PUD, and the legislative body approved it. So it came back on final master development plan, they didn't come back to planning commission, they didn't do another public hearing.
In that example, can a planning commission defer it for 6 months before they render a decision?
That would be a timetable you'd have to answer, whatever.
You have to ask our attorney on that, I don't think so, I think it's timely.
Y'all decide what you wanna do. I think you decide you wanna have a meeting starting and let's
Let,
deal with it as it comes up.
let me put something on the table. Insurance committee meeting to, eliminate and see who we're gonna keep in the competition next, on the 9th, September 9th, a week from tonight, 5 o'clock. We made immediately after that. I don't, depending on how long Kurt wants to talk, but, we made immediately after that, and had this on our agenda. It was time to get it. And then we could say yes, up or down on this, send it on to the planning commission. Planning commission here in October. Don't rush it. Planning commission here in October, then it come back to us in certain
Well,
November.
you said come back to us when you.
But we'll come back to the full commission, I'm
Full
sorry.
commission, yeah.
In November, is that a mechanism that's doable and clean and?
I think it is. Now, the question becomes if somebody can get votes to defer it or whatever, you've always got those.
We can't do anything about that sitting at this table tonight,
That's right.
so.
But let me make sure I understand this process. If we vote to send what we passed last time right to the planning commission, and they choose not to approve it, it will go, whatever they recommend, will go straight to the county court to vote on.
Well,
If they don't have any amendments, I don't
if
know.
they don't have anything else to consider,
Well, no, they didn't have anything else to consider. They made their own up last time.
They just denied it, didn't
You know, they denied what we sent, which,
And
and
they should
then,
have stopped
and then
right there.
created their own that passed, and that's what went to the county
Yeah.
court.
That's where we get stuck.
I mean, it's kinda like they're circumventing this body, or this body doesn't need to have any authority on it to me. And I'm not arguing state law, and you have to interpret it for me, I'm not smart enough.
well, state law is, you are talking, state law is clear, the planning commission, has to be considered by the planning
I
commission.
understand being
Before it goes to
considered, but in my mind, considered means I put it into my mind, I took it, rolled it over, thought about it, whether I agree with it or disagree with it, I
Voted up
still
or down.
considered it,
Voted up and down.
okay? I just don't want us to wind right back up in the situation we're in again.
Commissioner.
Yeah.
Commissioner?
But it sounds like Mount Juliet's got a process where it takes the amendment process off the table for the planning commissioner, where something's, sent to them and they have to either approve or deny, and then it moves forward, which would keep us out of this continuous loop.
Well, I
Is
mean,
that something that can be done at the county level, or is that part of their city charter, do you think?
I'm not gonna speak on what they do, and I don't think you can do that here. I just don't think you
Okay.
can lay something on the table and then determine how you're gonna vote on it without giving the chance to amend, defer, whatever.
the three
Those
people that can
options.
originate a zoning ordinance amendment, is people can come in and ask, the
Right.
public, right?
Yep.
The legislative body can do it, or the planning commission can do it, right? Any member of the planning commission can do it, or can make a motion to do it.
Right.
This did not originate with the planning commission. And the way it's viewed in other places, and not just Mount Juliet, planning commission wants to start a zoning ordinance amendment, they can certainly do that. They can't start ours.
Why did
We started ours, and they had a right to vote it up or down. If they wanted to do another one, it should have been a separate one.
What,
Okay, so that's where the amendment process came in, and that's where we end up in this weird loop, okay.
what was the reason, Mike, Dennis, what was the reason that they voted it down?
I don't recall.
You keep saying voted it down, they
Well,
passed it with
they-
a positive recommendation with the said amendment. They moved A1 from 80,000 square feet to 40,000 square feet, and that would have made, in that amendment, it made R1 and A1 the exact same square footages. But they made an amendment and then gave it a positive recommendation with said amendment.
So it was never
Which
voted
one?
on the way it was sent.
No, no, sir.
Which,
I think it
They
was.
took a vote.
Yeah, it
on
was
the
voted
original.
on.
My adjacent commissioner was frustrated.
Jamie Nichols made a motion to approve it, it was seconded by Gary Noakes, and that motion never carried, it failed 8-2. And they never gave a reason on why, it had a positive recommendation from planning, from this board, and they never gave a reason as to why they denied it. Anyway.
when we start the process over, we think we'll call a meeting next Tuesday night after.
I don't think so. I'll have to figure out how we wanna word the agenda so that we do it properly. We'll figure
To
that out.
consider the final product we,
Can you just word it, consider anything and everything?
We're trying to get challenged on that. I'm
I
thinking, consider a resolution to amend the A1,
Well, it's not just A1.
No.
Entire zoning
It's not just
ordinance.
A1.
Because he struck down that entire resolution,
Yeah.
not just the
R1's messed up.
So in that incident, planning commission where they got.
I mean, that's what originated this
But
conversation.
one at a time, please.
In that incident, planning commission 2 years ago, when they got denied 2 to 8, that should have been done, there shouldn't have been another vote. That's their recommendation. That's where we went wrong, is we went back to get some sort of positive recommendation from, and I'll have to rewatch that part of the meeting again, but we went back to get a positive recommendation.
Why did they vote negative on it?
Well, it was, I thought the motion failed for lack of a second. I'll have to go back. They're stating that it had to, and it got denied 2 to 8, and then they made another motion to amend it, and it got a positive recommendation.
What was the amendment?
See, that's why I think CK got wrong. He thought it
Take
originated,
A1 from 3,000 square feet to 40,000 square feet.
he thought it originated at the planning commission. That's, CK's ruling would be right if it originated at the planning commission. If this had started there.
Right.
My recommendation would be whatever you think you want to consider as you meet next Tuesday, then you can draft it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to do that.
No, I've already got it drafted,
Okay.
unless they
Alright, we-
change it.
Let's talk about 80,000 in A1 and 80,000 A2, in R2, R1, I'm sorry, A1 and R1. I can understand the R1, I'm not,
Is anybody against the R1, the way it's written?
Let's don't go too much further, guys. We didn't have the time to do
Okay.
anything tonight on this. And, you know, if y'all want to adjourn and kick it around or whatever, but let's,
But this next Tuesday night, we can sit and have this conversation for real.
legally.
yes, sir.
And if it takes all night, or we have to meet and come back again, we could work on this till we.
You get the
there's any-
agenda.
Any problem with that?
Not as far as I'm concerned, well, I'd prefer not to stay all night.
I don't wanna stay all night either, Mike.
But get
What
the
I'm
agenda
saying
where we
is-
can discuss it openly.
We can't. So you want to meet next
Next Tuesday
Tuesday
night,
night at the conclusion of the insurance committee meeting?
that's what I
How
recommend.
long you think insurance will take? 30 minutes?
As I said earlier, depending on how long Kurt talks.
Well, you the chair.
Well,
No,
yeah.
no, that-
I mean, contrary
Are they coming to
to
make
belief, I do know.
No, it's not a presentation, just to eliminate and to say we will consider
Okay.
these things.
I'm gonna say at
I
the
think
conclusion of the insurance committee, 5:30 PM or the conclusion of the insurance
That,
committee.
that'd be fine. And, there's been discussion of A1 versus R1, so anybody that needs to discuss that, get with, Christopher, get that kind of cleaned up, us, we start over. Yes, sir, Mr.
Just
Steve.
very, very quickly.
Yes,
just touched on, during this time period, obviously it's gonna take a few months. The vested interest of the developer, whatever, it's touched on very briefly. At what point does the developer come in during this period from now to 2 to 3 months? Does he come in and get 500 acres approved for it to be one? At what point does he have a vested interest? And is there anything we can do to slow that down? Because I have a feeling Chris was fixing to get covered up. Does that, do you understand what I'm asking?
Is the application, does that vest? That,
The application is made before the amendment changes. I have to hear them under the rules that were in force at the time of the application.
right, but do they have any vested rights just because they made an application?
If planning commission approves, a concept plan, they have vested rights for 12 months.
If the planning commission has taken some action.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is if Robert Fields comes in there tomorrow and makes an application,
Yes.
that doesn't give him any vested rights.
No, that doesn't give invested rights, but I mean, I have to present that application to the planning commission.
Correct.
Yes.
Will there be notice given to the public as far as those subdivisions that may or may not be put before the planning commission?
A plat has 30 days.
It would be on our posted agenda that we advertise, but as far as notifying adjoining landowners, no, sir. We would not
But
do
there
that.
would be
That
a-
would be a
okay.
use by right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hall,
I think Haskell had his hand up before me, I'll let him.
You're already
Okay.
in the queue.
Alright, so, I think going off of Mr. Neal's idea, can we not ask a appeals judge or whoever we're appealing to for a stay on this ruling so that
You can.
And
I
would a
don't know
stay,
that he'll grant it, but we can ask you.
okay, would a stay keep that from happening?
If he grants a stay, the law that's in effect right now,
Would stay in effect until the appeal is settled?
I think that's, I hadn't thought about that. If you want me to ask for a stay, you need to vote tonight to do that, to instruct me to do that.
Chair, entertain the motion.
Explain to me what you mean by stay, so I understand.
Asking the court not to enforce the case while it's on appeal. Not to enforce the ruling while it's on appeal.
Well, yeah, this just gets more.
Hey, that's pretty sharp,
Convoluted.
because then it's still in,
He just basically says, you know, I'm not overturning my decision, but I'll not put it into a.
Can I add something else to that before we entertain the motion? I believe if we're gonna ask for a stay, we should have a special called county commission meeting to vote on asking for that stay.
100%. Maybe a special call planning commission.
Right now, we don't have a chair,
That's
entertain
just
the
my
motion,
opinion.
nobody said anything yet, whether we want to vote on the stay or not. Do we have a motion?
how often does this kind of thing happen?
If you ask for a stay,
With
it happens sometimes.
With Mr.
They do
Smith,
that
with
federal court
Chancellor
does.
Smith.
I don't know that I can answer that. But I'll say this, most of the time when you're dealing with a case where there's money involved or something, if you're gonna ask for a stay, you're required to put up a bond or something, if you're costing somebody some money because of the stay. Here, there's no cash dollars involved. Now, we know the size of lots and everything equates into dollars, but,
The public welfare is at stake here.
Amen.
Could we not just ask the planning commission not to act on something for a certain length of time? Do we have that right?
They don't.
Once a plat is submitted, planning commission has 30 days to make a decision on it. If they fail to make a decision,
Automatically.
I think it's 60 days actually.
60, I think.
It's 60 days. Planning commission has 60 days to act on anything. If they fail to make a decision within 60 days, the plat is automatically approved.
And I won't know.
And I think the 60 days was put in there because that allows any county entities, because we typically only meet once a month in all the county jurisdictions, that allows them one deferral process to stay within that time frame. Typically.
The chair hadn't heard the motion, ask him, that's a comment.
I like Mr. Hall's idea personally, but, my question, and at the risk of kicking a dead horse, if we already have this on the planning commission agenda for this month.
Need to get it off this month.
Well,
But if we do, and if we meet next Tuesday night the committee meets next Tuesday night to decide what they're gonna send, could that not still go in September?
My concern is the deadline, he put it on there, the deadline, put it on there was due today, we're acting after the deadline.
I think
He's
we're
already
just
got it.
opening the door
It's already
for
on notice, but we
for
can't
another
approve it.
job for
You
you.
have to have
Jump in there,
21 day
Mike.
notice on a hearing.
I'm just, again, I'll tell you, your meeting tonight was to decide whether to do appeal or not. And y'all, we've talked about it, you've slowed down, and then we come back around full circle. And
We signed the bill.
you did, you told me what you wanted me to do, and I know you wanna talk about all this, but we didn't advertise it that way tonight. And, you know, if there are people out there looking to challenge what you ultimately do, that's where they'll start it, right here.
That's the reason I wanna make next week, and it ain't gonna hurt to take another month to get this done.
I just have
Maybe
a,
even take,
I've got a procedural question.
please,
Okay, so.
that's a proper procedure.
Right, okay, so I know Bobby and Christopher both said that one of the three ways that something can go in front of the planning commission is if citizens request to go in front of the planning commission.
Right.
We have
I'll
citizens,
request,
they,
well, today was cutoff day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Deadline.
well,
we-
it's still today, right?
We passed the deadline, noon today.
Okay, again, I just had trying to understand the process of procedure.
But I mean, in
because
your
that's
line
the
of
issue.
thinking, citizens could have came in the day after the court case and requested it to be put on. They didn't have to wait for an action from this board.
Okay,
A citizen, I mean, They're
I'm
not
not
held
sure
to the
citizens are
same
clear
We knew
that they
that.
have.
We didn't know
Mark,
that.
Yeah.
I wish we'd knew
Yeah.
that this
I
morning.
was in the office today. Had I known that, I would have requested it would be put on there. I was in the office today. I didn't know.
I've already got it on my agenda, and I may be jumping the gun on this, but I don't think there's anything in state law that says I can't do it. But it was requested to be put on the agenda back in April of 2023. So I'm just following up on a decision that was made by CK that said we did not follow on proper procedures. So in my mind, it's been requested to put on there. We just did something wrong along the process, so this is righting that wrong.
We're just trying to vote
Yeah.
open the door for a new lawsuit, Christopher. We're not questioning you at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
and I can be directed to take it off and push it, that's fine, but,
I mean, I think,
This
our
ordinance
attorney's
has been
wanting to
given-
recommend we put it off till
If
October
we-
to avoid that.
If we address it next week and put it on the October agenda, what's the downside of that?
That's-
Anything?
Let's put this on the agenda and talk about it next Tuesday. That'd be, leave it, you got it on your agenda for the planning commission. It can't come off, cause you put it on there as of today.
Mhm.
So,
Why can't it come off?
I mean, I can withdraw, I mean, I'm the one that put it on there, I think.
but it stays on there. You announce to the commission that you withdraw it.
Yeah,
You can't just withdraw it tonight.
no,
No, that's what I'm talking
No.
about. So it's on there until 10 o'clock the 19th.
So there'll only be 30 days that people could sneak in on the 60-day plat rule then. Because if that happens, you wait till October, can't get it done till November. And if somebody files for the next planning commission, you got 60 days to approve or deny a plat. And somebody with 100 acres wants 200 homes or whatever in R1.
yeah, but if they
No,
apply,
no.
if they apply before the resolution is approved, they're locked into they're vested in at the regulations that were in force at the time of their application.
That's why I recommend a stay.
Yes, planning commission wouldn't have to act on it, but they'd have to act on it with the rules that were in regulation at the time of their application date.
So your recommendation is leave it on and then see what happens
My
next.
recommendation
next
is y'all
Tuesday night.
adjourn tonight, and not talk about this anymore. Cause you can't take any action tonight.
That's correct.
So, I mean.
What about the motion for the stay that Mr. Hall kept?
Now, they can still do
recommending?
that, cause that's part of the appeal.
As far as I'm concerned, it died because nobody made the motion. He's not
That
on second.
solve the problem about that could potentially solve the problem about a developer having a vested interest on a piece of property.
Well, explain to us the process if we wanted.
What's the downside to that?
What I do is file a motion and ask the chancellor
It would be part
to
of this,
stay his decision.
but it would be part of this, appeal.
The notice of appeal is filed with the clerk and master, and at the same time, I would file a motion for stay, asking the chancellor to stay his decision. He'll either grant that or deny it, and then we'll go from there.
Would there be a downside to asking for that, for you?
Would the chancellor decide the stay time, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
He could, but most of the time when a stay is granted, it's for the duration of the appeal. I think, I mean, keep in mind now,
I'll make a motion to stay. To ask for a stay.
We have a motion to ask for a stay. Do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
We have a second to the motion to stay. Do we have further discussion on it? No further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion passed. Okay, we're gonna have a call meeting next Tuesday, 5:30, or when the insurance committee's
Yeah.
over. We're gonna ask for a stay. Is there anything else we need to address tonight?
nothing else you can't tonight.
I've got just the information points if I'm allowed to put those, not regarding this.
Do what now?
I've got information points, but it's not regarding the ordinance. It has nothing to do with that, it's just, the PUD ordinance, that you all have reviewed, and we've started that process and it's been sent through the planning commission. This is just notifying you all of meetings that you'll probably be invited to. They deferred that until November, before they make their action. They wanna have a work session similar to the one that was presented to you all with all the surrounding counties, what they're doing. That work session will be in October. They also, in that request, wanted the planning and zoning committee to be a part of that work session. So it'd be the planning commission and the planning and zoning committee.
Where will it be?
It'll be in the chamber room when I get it set. I'm still working on whether or not it'll be an after-hours meeting or,
That'll be considered new business tonight.
that's just information telling
He
you
just
that
telling y'all what he's gonna have to do.
there's gonna be a meeting set.
Can I get hours of credit for it?
There has been a question. I am looking to see if I qualify to issue CECs for you all. Yes, I am. That's part of that process. The other information is, this will have to end up being on our agenda to decide it. I'm just gonna hand this out for you all to start looking over, so at least when you come in, you'll have a little bit of background. This is phase 2 of the watershed study. You all are familiar with the one we did on Spence Creek. This is the scope and the Spring Creek watershed. Right now, the scope only accounts for what is the dark blue line, which is the existing main stem of the watershed. If there are tributaries of this watershed that you want to be studied, we will have to get that back to the Corps. That'll come before you in a more formal capacity. We can do it on the next agenda, or we can make a separate meeting for that. But I was gonna hand this out just so, cause it had the dollar amounts just for you all to start looking over.
Is there a problem with handing it out like, as new business?
Either that or he can adjourn, he can stand at the door and hand it to you.
I'm not asking you to make an action on it, it's
Yeah,
just,
I don't think there's any problem, but this highlights what we're talking about, guys. Whoever, if the train is moving toward the resolution that people want on the 80,000 square feet, the people that are opposed to that are gonna be looking for anything they can to try to defeat it. So I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, I'm just trying to say to you, be careful.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. We'll stand adjourned.